Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs or professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We talk to people that have walked the walk, talked the talk, been through all the things that we experience in the business world, and have joined us to share some of those skills and experiences with us. So thank you, first of all, for being here, for joining me, spending some time with me, sharing some of your experiences with the audience. It's really the way that I've learned and accumulated a lot of information and experiences, and hopefully for you guys listening, you guys feel the same way. So thank you for being here. It really does mean a lot. Being a part of our podcast family it's something that's very important to me. So thank you. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My name is
Anytime.
Paulina Beck. I'm an enrolled agent, which means I'm a tax expert by the IRS, and I help people create strategy around their taxes.
Sure. And so are you working primarily with business owners, or are you working with individuals as well, or?
I work with both. The best way I can describe it is I turn words into taxes, and I transact in weird. So
Mhm.
usually, the more odd it is, the more intrigued I am.
Sure. So tell me your story. Like, what is your background? How
Sure.
did you get to what you're doing now? And what has that whole entrepreneur experience been like?
Yeah, so I grew up, I'm a fourth generation entrepreneur on
Oh,
both
nice.
sides. And women, which usually
Cool.
is not something that I would have expected. Um, I thought I would go all in on the corporate world, so I went into big accounting in New York City. And, just when you make plans, God laughs. And I thought I was going to be a New Yorker. And 2 months in, I met my husband, who was in the military. So 2 years into moving to New York City, I've been dreaming about being in New York City. Um, we moved, he gets stationed in Oklahoma, and I had to, I was like, okay, I can still make it work. They gave me a transfer. I did it for about a year. They were lovely people. I always felt like a fish out of water. I was like, I feel
Sure.
like I don't get the rules of the game. And we were having our first child, and I was like, why don't I like do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a formal plan. I really did burn the ship and went all in. And that's how I started. And I didn't buy the practice from anybody. I didn't have a mentor that I worked under. I was like, I think I can do this. And it was kind of the I don't know, but I'll figure it out kind of attitude that got me through. I'm in my ninth year of business.
Wow.
And yeah, and I would say what kind of got me here is being curious. I feel like in the world of taxes, people feel like there's some like rule book, or like there is a rule book, but some sort of list of like yes and no. And what I've learned is a lot of it is, okay, what do the rules say and how do they apply to you? Kind of like medicine.
It's a little more up for interpretation than people give it credit for
Correct.
sure.
And like common sense prevails, like, and all these things. So I found that my take on it, or what's made me successful, is I saw people as people. And I tell them, please don't apologize for not being a tax accountant.
Yeah, sure.
Or like, because a lot of people are like, I'm so sorry. It's like, why are you apologizing? Like, do you go to the doctor and apologize that you didn't go to medical school? No. So why are you
Right.
doing that here? So that, and treating people as people, and understanding that we're all trying to do the best, and sometimes it's not picture perfect, but we're trying to do our best, has gotten me the best results.
Absolutely. So tell me more of your story geographically. Are you still in
Yeah.
Oklahoma?
No, we're in Texas now because
Nice.
a year and a half into it, we got stationed in Texas. And yeah, we haven't left. So it's been 8 years since then.
Nice. So the question that I wanted to ask is
Yeah.
it probably seems pretty straightforward. I imagine a lot of people are assuming this, but there's a stark contrast in the business world in Oklahoma and Texas and New York City. Like there it's very, very different things. So talk to me about like the organic side. Like how did you go out there and build your
Yeah.
network, meet people, find the people that you're working with? What did that look like?
Yeah, so definitely big shell shock going from like one of the busiest cities in the world to we were in Elgin, Oklahoma. I believe at the time the population was 6,000, which is about the high school I went
Yeah.
to in Florida. So it was a big change, but every place, and I would say that's been like one of my superpowers, is learning that every place has like an opportunity and like a lesson and like a beauty in it. So New York City taught me to like be able to work with anybody and like make it work.
Right. Move quickly. Yeah.
Oklahoma, move
Be
quickly and like
agile.
yeah, Oklahoma taught me to like treat people like people
Right.
and that it's not always transactional and that there's a longer relationship. Like it's not always moving on to the next one as quickly as possible. And I don't know if I would have learned that lesson if I didn't have that opportunity. But to answer the question, I started out with a course. I found a course on Facebook because at the time it was Facebook. And I had no idea. I knew that I could do the job. I knew how to like work with clients. So I found a course at the time it was called Next Level Firms, and that taught me pricing and marketing. So I actually started out on LinkedIn,
Oh, nice.
and I would say it hasn't been until like my ninth year in business that I have really gone met people in person. And so everything I've
Really?
done has been virtual, 100% virtual.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you're working with people everywhere then, for the most part.
Everywhere. And I can't say that I filed in every state yet, but I filed most.
The
And
people probably misinterpret the way that LinkedIn functioned in 2017
yeah,
versus the way that it functions in 2026 as well. Because I was there for that. I've been doing what I've
yeah,
been doing for 10 years. So I would imagine
yeah,
that we have a lot of
yeah,
like
yeah,
B2B technology
yeah.
experience is probably pretty similar. You could actually meet real people on LinkedIn and not
Yeah.
get like spammed with buy my stuff to death or like get recruited to death. Only it was a very different landscape. It
Yeah.
was a way for people to display who they were in their like
Yeah.
highest professional sense, right? Like
Yes.
this is me showing you just this snapshot of my business side, and if you go find me on Facebook, you might see me drinking beer, hanging out with my kids. You know what I mean? It was a very different thing, but you
Yeah.
could facilitate real conversations with people
Yeah.
like this. Like it was really, and they wouldn't always become a client of yours or referral partners. You might always not, blossom that relationship.
Yeah.
It's not like every single person on that platform was super ready to network and grow their business.
Yeah.
Like everybody was kind of in a different place. But the it wasn't like, is this a robot or is this automated? Like that wasn't a thing then. You really could build a network if you put the
Yeah.
time and effort and energy into those people that you were meeting on LinkedIn. It was very much a different thing. So do you
Yeah.
find that you've found like a niche, that you've found an industry that is pretty, I know you said curiosity and interest. And I find that when I am curious and interested in
Yeah.
something, I tend to grab a hold of that thing and keep staying in that
Yeah.
intriguing headspace for as long as possible. So have you found something that really like scratches the right part of your brain?
So that's why I say I trade in weird. And it's all been I think there's a Steve Jobs, like I think he gave like a commencement speech in Stanford that basically said like your life doesn't make sense. Like looking forward, it makes sense. You connect the dots moving backwards. And that's what it's been for me. Like I'm not a horse person. I'm not against horses, but I can't say I grew up with them and like I know everything about them. And I just happened to connect with somebody who was with horses, show horses, and they're like, "Hey, can you figure this out?" I was like, "I can figure anything out with the
Right.
internet." And so there was a little bit of like figuring out stage, but horses led into tech led into exotic pet store. I've worked with professional gamblers, ticket brokers, I've had influencers, I've had uh, tech executives. So all these different things, and I have found like what they all share in common is we're all people, especially in the tax industry. Um, People expect me to have a visor and then do like the old school. And I've had clients talk to me. They're like, outside of that, you do good work. You don't sound like a Charlie Brown adult.
Right.
And I was like, oh, what a unique thing that I sound like a human being and I care. And I would say, even past the 2017, I can still have success on LinkedIn and just in marketing when I realize that I'm talking to an individual.
Right.
And my approach has been when I interact with somebody is like, if you were my really close friend and you came to me and you're like, Paulina, I don't know what to do about this. How would I want to how would I want to treat my friend? And I have found like that has been part of the success is like we all think we need to be this or that, or like we need to throw the titles. And I found like the less technical words I use, like I can use them, but the more I can say like what is it really that's you're concerned about? Like what is it that you want to feel? Or I feel like I act like a therapist, but the more we delve with that, that beats a bot every single time. And you don't have to jump to the cell. Like I've had relationships that we never worked together, but we were just connected by somebody and we interacted once and they keep sending me referrals. We've never done business together. I've met them on the internet. We've never met in person, but they've been one of my best referral partners.
Right.
And
It's
yeah,
about your customer, right? Like
yeah,
it's more the story and the experience is more about your customer. I've met like so many people that do that. I've trained salespeople that do
yeah,
that. Like our tendency as we continue to learn is to talk about what you do well and the value that you can bring other people. And it seems counterintuitive, but I think one of the most valuable things that you can do as a salesperson is ask people like, how can I help? You know,
yeah.
how can I, like, out of the ordinary, different than what you think I'm supposed to be doing in this relationship? Like, how can I help you, man? Like, what are you really experiencing? And
Yeah.
that can sometimes be counterintuitive to our own businesses. I'm assuming is like you're opening up a can of worms that aren't necessarily your specialties. But I find myself like there's kind of there's steps to those things. Like you want
Yeah.
to be as consultative as possible, and then I went through this phase where I was like, oh, I can learn like a little bit about everything. And then my network got mature enough to be able to make powerful introductions to people that specialize in different things.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
realized that the story and the understanding is not really about your own product and your own service. It's more about the understanding and care that you have about your customers and the ability to plug pieces of your network into places to solve problems for people make you like
Yeah.
500x more valuable as a consultant than trying to do a little bit of everything like that. That Swiss Army knife of business is going out of style a little bit because you know so many people
Or
that know
everything's
so many different
AI. I
things.
love AI.
Right.
Like AI is fantastic. I use it every day. But I realized like I'm never going to be able to compete with TurboTax, nor
Right.
do I want to. Because the reality is, you're not really working with me to plug in things into TurboTax or HR Block or whatever it may be. And these serve a purpose and they're really critical. You're working with me because you want somebody who understands you. And it's not, I'll be able to, like, I always say, like, do I know your life and what you're trying to achieve to the point where I can best serve you in what I specialize in? Because if I know things, I know what to ask you so that I can guide you. I say, like, I'm always getting people to a destination, and I just happen to be the one driving, but you're choosing the destination. Like, outside of that, that's the whole interaction. And I find, especially in tax, I feel like it's true with bookkeeping, accounting as well,
Sure.
but in tax, I tell people it's like, I'm going to be your best friend, your spouse, religious leader. Like, I'm going to know things that other people are not going to know about. And you have to have that person in your life in a professional setting that can give you advice and speak. I call it truth to power
Mm-hmm.
because people that work for you are not going to want to tell you all the things. Sometimes you don't want to tell your spouse all the stress because you don't want to worry them. Because
Right.
when you're running the business, you're like, I don't want to tell you that I'm freaking out
Mm-hmm.
when you're really freaking out.
Yeah, I don't want to
Because
put that on you. I know what
I
it
don't
feels
want
like for
to
me to carry it. I don't want you
like
to carry it as
I don't want
well.
to add that. So a lot of that, so you start filling this role. I call it like I'm like your little counselor. I call it like I tell them like, what's your confession today?
Yeah.
Because like, what's the confession? And sometimes they're like, well, it wasn't that bad. I was like, I'm not going to judge you. That's
Yeah.
not my job. But if you're
And
gonna,
I'm not gonna tell you them, but I could tell you 100 worse stories.
and
I
that's
could tell
half the
you stories
time.
about like leaving calls and being freaked out. Like I can tell you like, oh man, this worries me. You know, like I'm not gonna judge you because you haven't filed a tax return in 2 years. You know, like there are critical issues that you can have in your business, and we're not talking about those things 99.9% of the time. You know what I mean?
I would say the more quiet and poker face I am,
Yeah.
that's usually when you start you should freak out.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, it's a space that I really respect, and I understand where clients come from. And I say, like, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to get you to where you want to go. And I tell them, I own a business too. It
Yeah,
is very different when you're working with your clients, like even if you had the same issue, that when you're doing it on your own. Me doing my own tax return, I can flip out 20 times about my
sure.
own return. I could do the exact return for somebody else and like take a nap right after. Like
Right,
I'd be fine.
right.
So it's that space. And yeah, I would say just being authentic with people. And I would say the age of saying, I don't know, but I can figure it out. Like I know I've said it several times, but I
But
don't
it's
think there's
coming
any.
back. Yeah,
It's just saying, like, just I, when I've worked with people, I've always respected them as like, hey, I don't know, and I'm happy to tell you that I don't know, but I feel comfortable that we can figure it out together. And if I can't, I'll point you in the right direction because at least I know what I know enough to tell you where to go. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to give you legal advice.
right,
But I could say, like, hey, this sounds like you might want to talk to somebody, or if it's an insurance thing, I'm like, I'm not an insurance broker. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but maybe consider it because I've had other people. And that's even something that I tell people, like, I don't think accountants are utilized to their full extent. Like, yes, we offer a service, but we have insight. I call it behind the curtain of so much that we can say, like, hey, I've seen this play out 20 times,
right.
30 times, 100 times. Like 9 out of 10, it's gonna break this way or not. And people don't ask those questions.
Right. And I can ditto that for credit card processing. It's like I see your statements. Like I know the volume that you're operating at. I understand from just looking at the math and having done this for a decade what you're experiencing before you tell me those things. Vice versa, if you tell me the XYZ things of your business, in my head, I can go, you're probably doing this much in credit card processing, or at least this is where you need to be for this to be sustainable for you.
Yeah.
So, like, I can work backwards and give you a lot of insight on things that are not my wheelhouse because I've been in this room so many times. Like, I have been asked to break down these things and ask me what I think about it in so many different cases, in so many different industries,
Yeah.
and so many different instances that, like, hey, we can do this together. Let me think about it. But let me ask you this.
That's it.
Growing organically and authentically, I would probably make an argument these days that for the overwhelming majority of people is the only way to achieve some sort of sustainable success. The opposite side of that, I feel like, is that that's not necessarily a I'm in a hurry game. Like you're a little sometimes out of control of how quickly or slowly you grow.
Yeah.
So was that something that you dealt with? Was like, I'm kind of in a hurry to bring on more clients?
I feel like it's yes, but I had to figure out that was an insecurity we all go through. And now
Right.
that I've been around in the game a little bit longer, I can spot it. And I would say now I'm facing a different problem, but I would say early on, even picking out your name and your logo,
Right.
right? We're all freaking out. We're like, everybody's
So
gonna
easy to
judge it.
agonize over.
And I'm not saying don't put thought into it, but I've met people that do business on an AOL account
Yeah.
and they are
Killing it.
nobody's been like, and you use an AOL account?
Right.
Like, don't say start there, but like I feel like in the beginning we're creating something out of nothing that we're trying to justify our identity.
You're
Like
right.
we're
Yeah, yeah.
justifying our spot.
It's your baby, right? Like it's
It, it
you're
is
way too
definitely a
close
child.
to it to be objectively giving yourself your own advice on what you should or what you should not be doing in that exact moment. Like you're way too no
Yeah.
one has ever done business, and I'm sure this is probably not true because of just law of large numbers, but for the most part, no one's ever done business with anyone because their logo is so cool. Like that just doesn't exist. Like strong brands become synonymous with what they do, but their logo had nothing to do with that. Like
Or
their
the
initial brand, their
website.
color swatch that they got from their branding person was not the reason that people fell in love with doing business with those companies. It's just not the way that it works.
No, but in the beginning, I know I went through that with coming up with the name of my business. I was
Oh,
like,
and
okay,
same. I've done it 3 times. I still do it. If I
yeah,
started another company tomorrow, I'd still do it because it's human. It's a
yeah,
very human thing to you're trying to like breed this sense of confidence for yourself, right? It's a superhuman thing to go, oh, what do I need to do so that I can feel really good about it and pitch with
Yeah,
conviction with people? And like, you're so much more pitching yourself than you are your brand or your service. Like you're so much more
110%.
talking about the value that you can bring to a relationship rather than you are like, check out my website. Like I've seen people agonize and agonize and agonize over their website. And I'm like, man, you should just be talking to people. Like if you talk to
Yeah.
people, they'll buy stuff. It doesn't matter how many things they've got to click through on your website, man. Like,
And you'll figure it out too. And like sometimes you got to try stuff out. And I know when I started, I was like, okay, I'll start specializing in real estate. And at first, it didn't like vibe with me. It
mm-hmm,
just, I felt like it was a little clunky. I wasn't feeling in it. And now I've done it enough where like I could do it in my sleep. And,
mm-hmm.
but I had to pivot to something else to come back around
Sure.
and to
Then
go
it
back
probably
like,
helped you understand those people a little better.
yeah. And sometimes like you're kind of faking it till you make it.
Yeah, sure.
But I have found like my mentor always tells me like you get it. It's the things you're supposed to do as the owner, as the entrepreneur, are going to be simple. They're just not going to be easy. So he always tells me like Paulina, you just got to get on the phone. You just got to get on the phone. Like you could do all the social media, you could do that. Like that, he's never saying don't do it. But at the end of the day, is how many people did you talk to?
Right.
And I find that, we all go through that stage where we're like, no, but like there's like this new shiny thing. You can build this like new thing and like there's like this automation. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
nobody's saying don't have it. You probably will. But if you don't know the basics of like how does it look like to get on the phone and say, "Hey, would you like some help? This is what I do." Your bot thing is never going to get you through those learning lessons.
Yeah, it's really not. It just makes you take 10 times as long to learn the same lessons that you're
And
inevitably
sometimes
going to learn.
slower
Yeah,
is the path.
for
Like
sure.
whenever I've like just focused on the basics and say, let it take how long it needs to take. I don't need to be at the next revenue mark so I feel like I've done it. Um, that's usually when I've doubled.
Right.
Like like I've slowed down and focused on the basics. Like how many people have I talked to? How long am I taking to deliver? Am I meeting the expectations? Like meeting and setting expectations is like one of the biggest things. It's like nobody cares about anything else if my clients are not happy.
Absolutely.
So doing the basics and like the real basics, like there's not a hack. Like you can't hack your way to success.
100%.
You got to put in the hours. It's gonna be awful. And the conversation I've had lately has been like, you haven't been in business if you haven't thought about closing shop and getting a job.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's the first day you're in business. It's
Absolutely.
like the day you're like, I don't know, it just sounds so great. Just
Yeah.
you know.
For this to
And
be
then,
somebody else's problem.
yeah, like to be like, I close the laptop and like my day's done. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not thinking about it. And I'm like, that's whenever I have like new businesses, I was like, okay, call me that day and I will take you out to lunch or
Mm-hmm.
dinner or whatever or coffee because that's the first day you're in business.
Right. Yeah, it absolutely is. And the those are the things that make it stick with you, right? Like you're like, oh, everything is happening to me so quickly. Let me just put some fires out. Like, let me just do some things for my clients. Like, that's business there. You know what I mean? It's like, let me do what I can to simplify this storm that is going on around me and let me get back to what I do well and do something for somebody else but me. And that is a lot of what business feel like. And I think it gets glammed up a little bit. I think that it's like human tendency to glamour it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. Just be honest with yourself. You know, you don't have to do that. You just have to look at yourself in the mirror and go like, did I try my best? Like one of the things that I'm sure if you guys listen to the podcast a lot, you've heard me say over and over again is like, you will always surprise yourself at what you're capable of. It's when you're only working, like I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to make myself better. Well, then now you're like neglecting your client. You're not getting the feedback that you need to really understand where you are. So what for those things for you, like you said earlier, I'm kind of facing a different obstacle now. What has that phase been like? Like what are some of the things that you've dealt with as you've continued to grow and what should people be on the lookout for people that are easing their way into their own business?
So I would say in the beginning, it was just more feeling like I was capable or like
Sure.
worthy of like whatever it was. And then once you've done that and you have experience, like you've seen enough cases of whatever you've seen, it then becomes about hiring. And it's like, okay, I know how to do this really well, where you basically turn your business into a job. How do I start delegating? So that has been a struggle. I would say at year 9, the struggle that I've been kind of dealing with is more, I love what I do, but am I repeating cycles or am I learning new lessons?
Right.
And like very clean about repeating a cycle is like, hey, I can tell in my history when I dealt with this problem. Like, I would say it's like dealing with capacity for me. How many people can I work with at one time and still sustain a certain level of quality? And it's evolved, but I'm like, okay, so now what does that actually mean? When I want to get to the next level, does that mean I need to hire more so that we can do this type of work, or do I go up in price and work with less people?
Right.
And it's in that middle ground, I would say, that I'm dealing with, okay, am I documenting, am I putting procedures in for someone else other than me to make all the calls?
Right.
'Cause that's at year 9, I don't want to be hustling to the same degree that I was hustling at year 1. Again, I got plenty to go. I love what I do, but I have to be more strategic because it is a marathon and I just can't be, to put it simply, it's like I am no longer at the point where you have to work harder to get more success. I have to
Right.
work smarter.
Right.
And that's really like the stage that I'm at is I can't work more hours because I'm already maxing out on hours. Where can I actually work smarter?
Absolutely.
And
I had a mentor tell me something very wise, and I still wrestle this like on a daily basis. He told me run your business like you're planning to exit.
yes.
Like run your business in a way that this thing needs to be able to function without you overseeing every step of this process. And I found that to be so wise and extraordinarily difficult to implement. Like, very take a step back and write down what you're doing on a day to day basis seems very, very straightforward until you try to do it, because how many things you do and the value that brings to people that you're working with. Like, for some reason, it's a human tendency to be like not rewarding of yourself in your brain. It's just like that's just what you do. It's just no big deal. And then all the things you mess up, you hyper focus on those things, but you're not like tracking what that process was that got you in this place. What was the good of it? What was the bad of it? Because to run a business that is exitable, you have to be able to package your business up in a little box or a file folder, a filing cabinet, or a hard drive on a computer, and you have to be able to hand that to someone else and say, and while they have an understanding of your clients and who they are and what they need to do for their clients, like if you want that 7 or 8 figure check for the relationships that you've built in your industry, you have to run your business like it is like you're about to exit. It's so hard. We deal with it every day, especially with adding new pieces of technology. Like the procedure for us from one industry to another may be completely different, right? So it's so hard to package those things up, but it's something we've been focused on for so long that even when I'm like, oh, this is an odd client, I'm going to have to hit the books and learn a little bit about this one to make it work, right? Well, then boom, I realize, look how closely this mirrors something else that you've done. And maybe there's a small piece of it that is different, but that is an annotation you can make to something that you've already made. And it's really, really hard to do. And I have encouraged people to do it since day one. If you can find yourself with a standard operating procedure that, you know, you can hand to someone with your level of experience when you entered your industry, and they can repeat a lot of the things that you're doing well, you're A/B testing, you're trial and erroring the right things. And it's so hard to implement because when you're inside your business, everything seems so complex. It seems like that task list, like you may have 100 tasks in a day. you probably only write down 10 of them because it's the 10 big ones, or it's the 10 that are a little abnormal to you, or the 10 that's the most important. If you write down the other 90 and you realize how quickly you're checking those things off, one, you really breed this idea of how successful you can be and how many good things you're doing on a day-to-day business. But you're running your business like you're able to exit later, like you're able to hand it off, like you're able to sell it to someone that you believe in is going to take care of your clients the same way that you do, because you've written it down in a book of how you need to do those things. And I think that also, like, as you continue to evolve in business, that changes, right? Like what you're focused on, the industries that you're playing with, what your referral network looks like. Like, there are things that change every day in the industry that you're in, and figuring out how to navigate those things is not always the easiest thing in the world, but it is super, super important to just be able to reflect on what I did. Like, the lack of clarity on what you're doing every day, I think, is what gives that people the should I just go get a job feeling. Like, gosh, I want the list of things that I am responsible for and that I have to go figure out to just be smaller. And that creates that feeling really, really quickly. So yes, I can relate to what you're doing now and where you are. And let me ask you this: do you think that there's a time frame for? I think it's an ever evolving thing, right? Like, it's a thing that never really stops, trying to understand the things that happen in your business that make this whole world go around, right?
I think I don't know who said this, but they basically said owning a business and starting a business is like the biggest therapy
Yeah,
you'll ever go through. And I have found it to be so accurate because I'll say, I am a wife, I am a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm all these titles. And this experience, I tell everybody, we all have our secret sauce on how we run. Okay. So please don't compare yourself to the other person because there's going to be things. And I always equate it to marriage. It's like, I can tell
sure.
you what it's like to be married roughly, but I'll never be able to tell you what your marriage is going to be like.
Right.
So I find that you have to go into this with a gleeful ignorance.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to go in with uh, a purpose and understand what motivates you. And I think in the beginning, we all can, for many reasons, we can say money and all these things, but like you have to understand what makes you happy. So it took me a while to realize, like, past a certain point of the checks, I like seeing the impact. So like
Sure.
I live for my clients telling me, hey, I was able to buy my first home, or I feel like I can put, like, I had a client who we were able to save them so much money that that money that they got was able to pay for the first year of college for their kid.
That's
Like
awesome.
that, like, till this day gives me goosebumps. Like moments like that is what I live for. And realizing, like, when people, like, I feel like the weight melt away, you have to realize what you live for because you also have those bad days.
Sure.
So you have to um um there's somebody put it out, like, you have to have like a mental cookie jar of all the good moments to be able to draw back on, like, the days that you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make payroll. My expenses went up because, I was doing well. So I bought the car, I did the thing, and now I'm not like as lean and mean as I was on day one. And you have to be able to draw out those things. And I think it all goes back to, like, understand that it is really a marathon. It is a journey of every day. Success is rented, not
Right.
owned. And you have to run it at a pace that makes sense for you. And I think that is something that we don't hear enough. We hear about, like, burnout. We hear about, like, you got to work 13 hours. And I'm not saying there might be seasons of that. There might be weeks like that, days like that. But you have to look at yourself and be able to say, like, hey, I started this so I could spend time with my kids.
Right.
If I'm not doing that, then I lost the plot.
Right.
And those are things that I would say you don't see out there. Like, no, you're not going to be able to sit on a laptop and make millions of dollars and you work 30 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
that's going to
And
be
if
a
you
rare,
can, come be
rare.
a guest on my podcast, please.
Please
Like,
let me know.
yes, please, and fill me in, because I'll do it.
I'd
I
like to
got
learn. I'm
so many.
willing.
I can buy so many laptops right now. Like,
I'd be like, sign me up. And I've seen, and here's the thing, I've seen people make money in, like, not simple because they took risk and they have knowledge, but like there's times where I'm like, I overthought it. I
Right.
over engineered it.
Oh yeah,
I made it more,
I hear that constantly on this
I over
podcast right here.
engineered it.
Like I had a guy on here a couple of weeks ago that was like, dude, my first business plan was like 60 pages. And he said, and I have started another company in the exact same industry. Like I bought my partner, I had a partner, I bought my partner out. That person is going to do a different thing. And we're rebranding. Same business, same industry, same location, same office, different logo. And I had to write a new business plan, and it was 2 pages long. And I was like, yeah, okay. So you've learned that 58 of those pages were what, incorrect? And he was like, no, not incorrect. It was like, it was just silly. It was just like, it didn't need to be as complicated as I made it. I didn't need to make it this complicated. Here's what we're doing for our clients. Here's where the clients come from. Here's how they feel when they get done. Here's how much it costs. Here's what our revenue looks like. Boom. Like you go on about your life, and then you start to learn, like you expect some of those lumps over the head. I also feel like to that same tune of what you're talking about, people don't really give themselves a lot of grace. I don't know what this absurd expectation is from a lot of people that are getting into the business owner space that expect themselves to knock it out of the park on day one. I have known people that have been serial entrepreneurs and done this thing 30 times, and number 31, they come and talk to me and they're like, yeah, dude, I don't know how this one's going to go. You know, like, we're figuring it out day by day. We're checking the boxes and we're doing the things we need. So like that absurd, confidence that you have in yourself when you start your business, I'm not saying tone that down. I'm saying give yourself a little grace. Like give yourself a little time to work into that. And people really don't do that. And I think it's really, really valuable.
I would say that, and I was reading a book, I think this week, and it was talking about would you choose it again? So like you have to schedule time. Don't do this every day because then you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
But
Too much
I would say
reflection
like
is too much reflection. Yeah.
in the age of ChatGPT and the conversations, like you
Yeah.
can go down a rabbit hole there. But I would say like once a quarter, once every 6 months, like take 10 minutes and look at your business and be like, hey, like if I had nothing like locked in, right? Like you could walk away with no consequences of any kind. Would I still choose it to look exactly like this?
Right.
And that is kind of like your radar to be like, no, for me, it was how much time I wasn't spending with my family when that was the entire point.
Right.
And I was like, okay, but I'm not the other thing is like, we're not unique unicorns.
No, not at all.
Like we have our own unique way of going about things, but we're not unique.
Mm-mm.
I learn from my clients all the time. I'm in tax. I have construction businesses. I have all these kinds of businesses that are very different than what I do. And I especially with like AI, the internet, like you are not the first person to ever go through this exact problem. There is someone out there who has figured it out. And maybe it's not giving you step by step, but it's maybe giving you two steps
It's close. Yeah.
close enough where you like can understand it and like you can, figure it out. So like everything's figure outable. It is stressful.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you it's not,
It is.
but build your village.
Mm-hmm.
And your village should have, I would say, someone who's starting out. I always like to have somebody who's starting out, who's hungry, who's hopeful. I'm like, please don't let me forget that version of me.
100%.
Somebody who's like a year or two in,
Mm-hmm.
who's like, it's not as great as I thought, but it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Somebody who's at my level, who like, and wherever you are in the journey, like just match that as much as you can. Somebody who's a little bit ahead of me, like maybe a year or two ahead in like progress. And then someone who's like way ahead, who's
Right.
like, I admire because they all keep me humble
Yeah.
and they
You
all
have
keep
that frame of
perspective.
reference. Yeah, for sure.
And you have to have it because I would say only other entrepreneurs can like set you right. I tell my clients, just call me. Like I've had a client who called me, we're really good friends, and he was having one of those days where he just wanted to hang the towel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just give me a call. We're going to talk. I'm not going to convince you one way or the other. I'm just going to hear you out. And sometimes we just need that, but we
Mm-hmm.
need our village of people that are actively doing what we're doing. The person who's earlier on is going to keep you hopeful. The person at your level is going to validate whatever you're feeling. And the people that are ahead, they're going to be like, I've been there. You need a shoulder to cry on? Let's cry.
Yeah,
Do you need like a minute to just take a snapshot and figure out what you want to do? But there is a path. We can all solve it. It's just be able to like they say like you have to believe that no matter what life throws at you, you'll be able to get through it.
100%.
Whatever the business throws at you, it might not be exactly what you wanted. It might not be exactly like you're going to be on Forbes 40 under 40 or
Yeah.
30 under, like you might not, it might not be that version. But I'm just saying, maybe you're a little bit older. Like you're okay if you turn 30 and you don't are not a multimillionaire living in Ibiza. Like you're
You're right.
fine.
Yeah, it's
Like
okay.
you can be 35, you can be
Yeah,
45, 55, 65. Like nobody's gonna judge you based on the number. And just like fixate on the outcome, just not the timeline sometimes.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Especially if you're
absolutely
getting
agree.
stressed out.
Yeah, like
And
we believe in you here. Like
yeah,
this room of people that do nothing but try to solve problems for other businesses. We believe in you, and I don't even know you yet, Mr.
yeah,
Listener. Like I've heard it so many times on this podcast. Like if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like the people with the diligence and that give themselves a little bit of grace and have that village and they're even keel people. You don't ride the highs too high. You don't take the lows too
it
low.
shall
You just there's somewhere in the middle, and there's a little band of grace in that wavelength there that you have to give yourself. But tell me, how do people find you, and what are you looking for? How can we help you from a community
Yeah.
perspective?
So for me, I care about the people that I'm working with. Like the biggest thing that I look for first, other than not committing crimes, is like I was like, please, if you're interested in committing crimes, I'm not interested. I can help you clean up things, but again, don't commit any crimes. Um, Past that, I am looking to work with people that want to figure out structure in a world where you were not taught structure. Like
Right.
none of us went to school, and I went for college for accounting, finance, and economics. I don't think I could have studied more money because I don't think there were more
Yeah,
options.
there's no money left.
There was nothing else. And at no point did they actually walk me through like estimated payments or like how do I lower my bill and like do it ethically and legally. So what I tell people is like I'm looking for people that are willing to get coached. I'm not going to be your coach. I'm just saying willing to take advice, willing to take guidance, and just want to create structure in a world that wasn't structured for you. And if you're willing to work with me and we're willing to like buddy up, I'm willing to help you not only like get on top of your taxes and make sure they're done correctly, properly, and timely, but break the cycle. Because the biggest thing that I see is it's not people that are intentionally trying to do something. It's just like you didn't know you had a better year than you expected or whatever. You had a worse year
Right.
now that, and you're stuck with a bill, and then the year's already going. So like it's like this never ending cycle. And what I help people do very well is break that so that they're never in that position again. And it's not magic, it's not anything. It's just figuring out, okay, what's the path? Like, how do we come up with a game plan and execute it that makes sense for you, your family, your business? Um, Again, I travel in weird. So
Yeah.
I am not necessarily focused on one industry or another. I would say I'm mostly working with business owners, but I've dealt with individuals that have unique things and people that just want to have long-term relationships. Like if you want to work with somebody long-term, I'm your gal. If you're looking for just to figure it out this year and then move on to the next person, I might not be your gal.
Right. I I agree. I can ditto a lot of the same things for us. It's about the relationship and having a chance to bring a lot of value over time, and it warms my heart to know that in a world of artificial intelligence and technology, and you can have it right now, and everything that pitches you this band-aid for this thing that you're experiencing. Like there are still people that deal in the relationship space. There are still people there that know, like, you can't put a band-aid on this gunshot wound. It's just gonna keep hurting. But how do we make it right, and how do we make sure that this never happens to you again? Is a really good perspective, and it's probably a perspective that everybody listening should apply to their own business. But how do people find you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it your website?
You
Is
can
it
find me
your
on
email? Or
LinkedIn. I'm starting to do the TikTok because I really enjoy it as a consumer.
nice.
uh, And I
If you can
haven't
have fun
begrudged.
with it, you can find success with it. That is the number
Yes,
one advice that I guess we have a media and a marketing company as well. People are like, oh, should I be doing TikTok? I'm like, oh, is it fun? Because if you hate it,
I
then
enjoy
no.
it.
Yeah, for sure.
You won't catch me dancing, but
Not yet.
I enjoy it. But yeah, you can find me on my website, on LinkedIn. One thing that I tell people is uh, please feel free to DM me things you see on the internet that you have questions on. I know that there's a lot of accounts and all types of social media giving you advice, and then people like telling you no. What I would offer in this day of AI and social media when it comes to taxes is keep it to common sense.
Right.
And I would say, like, if you, out of the shininess, you break it down to the most simple things, it would be like, would that be something somebody reasonable would do?
Right.
Give you an example. If you have a Chihuahua, I love them. They're great. It might not be the best guard dog.
Right.
And if you work from home and nobody comes to see you, I don't know what they're guarding.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, it's not that having a guard dog doesn't make sense. It's just like, let's use a little common sense. And you don't have to make everything to lower your bill. That
Right.
would be the other piece that I would offer is there are simpler, common sense that makes sense in your everyday life, choices that you can make to potentially lower your bill. Are we going to reach probably like a point where we can't really go past that? Maybe. But don't do something stupid or something that people are like, I can take my whole family as a board of directors to
Yeah.
Barcelona. And like, I'm like, you just made $1,000.
Yeah.
Your family should not be going to Barcelona, okay? I want you to go to Barcelona, but like, let's plan for you to be able to go to
Yeah.
Barcelona
Let's
because
use a
you
little
made so much.
logic. Yeah.
Like, let's make enough profit where you don't have to worry about whether the IRS would allow it.
Yeah.
Like, I'll offer you that
Yeah,
take
let's
on it.
get
And
past those. Let's get past that scope in general, and then let's talk about where we're going.
But just, I have all my clients do this. I tell them, if I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll give you my 2 cents. And usually you're getting like a sound clip of something. So please feel free to send me whatever you find you're like, is this real? Would this make sense to me? I will gladly answer and give you my 2 cents. Most of the time I would say yes, but they forgot to tell you all these little like fine print.
Sure.
And also it might not even make sense for you.
Right. The well, to sum things up, our conversation, that a lot of the reason I really enjoy having these B2B conversations and why I really enjoy talking to you is that we don't spend a ton of time talking about how good we are at the thing that we do, right? Like, it's a willingness to go out of your comfort zone and solve problems for people that they're experiencing on a daily basis. And if
Yeah.
there is any indicator, I feel, of, a barometer that you can hold people to say, is this good? Is this bad? It's that exactly. It's how willing are these people to go out of what they do on a day-to-day basis to find out a solution to a problem for you. Like, that to me is a moniker of success for you as a client and success as a service provider. Again, burn the ship, believe in yourself, take a chance. If you're starting your business, I believe in you. We're bringing on people on this program every day, every week, releasing episodes of people that will tell you the same thing, that you are capable and that you'll always surprise yourself at what you're capable of if you give yourself a chance. So if you have questions for me, please let me know. I'll put as much of your contact information as I can find down in the description below for people that are looking to connect with you. And anything else along the way, man, like, let somebody help you, dude. It's not easy. It's not, no one is on this podcast telling you how easy it is and how dumb everybody else is for not doing it the way that they do it. It's just not how it works. Everybody's journey is a little bit different. And hopefully this podcast is demonstrating that everybody solves those problems in a little bit different way and to have a little faith. So until next time, burn the ship.